Hey, it's Logan and it's Docs, and we're joined by our AFC master and Alex.
Alright.
It's like 11.
Say that again. Definitely master.
it's like 11 o'clock at night for young Alex, so we'll try not to keep him too long because otherwise he might get too sleepy and fall asleep on us. And he's probably got a bedtime in there sometimes, so.
Oh.
We're talking breakdowns, not beatdowns, Alex. And we're talking playoff breakdowns. We're talking playoff races. Some of these races are getting very, very interesting. Unfortunately for Stocks, his divisions has a. I'm not even gonna say the door's wide open, but it's starting to creak open. He lost two games recently that kind of leaves the door open for the other owners. I know that AFC South is open, right, Alex?
Yeah, it is.
So
any team can win it fairly easily at the moment.
We're gonna
a couple teams at 3-5 records, and 3-4s, and 3-5s, and 2-6.
Manny's trying to make a comeback in the Northern Division, and the Vikings kind of fell off a little bit. I mean, so there's some interesting things going on. So it's not just. I know the trade deadline's over with, and people think, well, now I either got to get ready for the draft or get ready for the playoffs. So we're kind of at an interesting crossroads, and let's talk about one of these divisions. Any division?
Oh, you waiting on us?
Yeah, you're the guy that's supposed to analyze this stuff.
I'll pick one, the AFC South, because we got the master. We need some master help here. You got the Colts 3-5, like I said. The Titans 3-4. Houston intriguing 3-5, and Alex's is 2-6. Yeah, indeed.
I just wish I could.
It's wide open. It's all settled by 1-2 wins at the moment. I think it's going to come down to the important divisional games, which go on from now right until the end of the season. So, I think that's what's going to be the key to it.
I just wish I could switch spots with you because I'm like, I was 2-6, and then I don't know, man. If I was your division, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I'm fairly happy. I'm still very much in it. For example, I've got 2 divisional games against the Colts still, one against the Texans, one against the Titans. I've beaten the Texans already, just lost to the Titans. So the Titans are top at the moment, so that could be the only problem if I want to win it. I'm going to have to beat them next time, and they're going to have to lose a couple of games. So
stop the tight end Cook.
That seems about it.
He's cooking
some
a lot
good linebackers, so
yeah, he cooks a lot with Cook.
Yeah.
That's definitely his weapon.
So, Alex, do you feel that up to this point in your division and the way your style has been playing, do you feel like you've gotten better as the year's going on? Have you think you found your identity also? I think I've kind of started to get into a bit more of a rhythm. Like, after losing the first game, I think my team kind of... Well, it was very annoying, as I should have won it. I had a 10-point lead going into the last 3 minutes, and lost it at the end. Basically, missing 2 weeks as well didn't help against the Bengals and Saints. There could have been 2 more wins, which would put me at the top of the division. So it's kind of all very much if this, if that at the moment. So I've got to basically just focus on the rest of the season, just continue to build on the 2 wins I've got on the trot, and just hope I can win more and all my divisional games left at least. I think if I win all my divisional games, I think I've got a very good chance of winning the division and being in the playoffs, because I'm not sure. There's a possibility that I could get into the playoffs in the wildcard spot, because, well, all the wildcard teams at the moment are in the AFC 4-4, potentially 5-2, 4-4, 5-3. The one strong team that I definitely can see get the wildcard is the Bengals. Yeah, that's another one.
So,
in your division, who do you think's your toughest opponent out of the Colts, Titans, and Texans?
Well, that's a tough one. I haven't played the Colts yet, so I'm not sure whether.
And the Tennessee Titans. Did you mention those?
Yeah, out of those three.
Played, I should have. Yeah. I probably should have beaten, which is a bit disappointing. But I think they're all very tough opponents, all fairly even. One of us can beat another one, but then can't beat the other one. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, it seems. But I suppose you've got to play each game as it comes. I'm not really sure who's best in the division. It's not like one stands out above the others to be.
No, there's definitely some parity in your division.
So if you look at everyone's defensive points allowed against points for, everyone's points allowed is a lot higher. So I've had most points allowed in the division, but then I've had a couple of games where the game's just gotten away from me. And
you're third for points for.
Yeah, which I haven't played, and then a couple of games which I haven't played. So
no.
I've had no control of them.
Now, if you were to look at week 1 to week, whatever week we are in now, what do you think? What do you think you're doing better, and what do you think you still need to improve on? Like for instance, are you running the ball better with Maurice Jones-Drew? Are you finally finding those holes? Is it the emergence of your rookie quarterback that's making the difference? I mean, what is the difference between week 1 and now as you push for the playoffs?
Well, I think with a couple of those games, I've had key players out, and I think I've had them back just at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had Holmes out for a bit. I've had my right guard Noeri out for a bit, and I've also had Tyson Alualu out for a bit. So they had a bit of an impact in some of the games. Weather had some of the impact in some of the games.
Yep.
I would say maybe a CPU game kind of got me boosted a bit, if you know what I mean.
Well, predictions seem to be the theme of the show, so we'll stick with that. People want the mock draft. They want us to predict all these things like we're some kind of Wizards stocks. So if we had to predict how it's going to go, who wins the division? I know Alex can't contribute because he's a little biased because I've played in the division.
Obviously, I'll win the division, but no, I think it could go to anyone. Personally,
well, I've played the Colts and the Texans, and I didn't get the chance to play Alex because of his unfortunate situation. Houston's still, right before the trade deadline, was moving players around, and they're a very active team, and I think we went about the last podcast.
Yeah.
That the Colts are kind of the team, what it is, and it's going to come down back to, the Manning versus Schaub factor. If I would have had to pick, I would take the Colts still because of the Manning factor, and I would much rather have Manning on on the quarterbacking situation than Schaub. And Manning could carry the Colts alone versus the Texans have, a spew of players of, the Terrell Owens and the Javid Besses and the Andre Johnsons. I mean, it's just sometimes when you have too many guys, you don't know how to distinguish the attack.
Spoil the broth.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There's the master. But it's just saying that if you have too much firepower, you're kind of not feeding the power equally, or kind of the same way you would if you didn't have the amount of guys, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of the virtual players in your ear saying, he hasn't caught a ball yet. I got to get him a ball. That happens in real life, but it really does play a role because you're like, well, he's in the slot. He should make this catch, Well, he's Terrell Owens, he's good deep, or whatever the case may be. I will say this. Alex proved that he's a fighter, and he stayed alive with that Texans win. And the other two guys, although they should win the division, Alex is right there. And so you're going to need some help, Alex. But I tell you what, if one of those guys starts slipping just a little bit, you're going to keep, you're gonna keep moving up the ladder. Right now, I still have to give it to Peyton Manning. I think he's played the most consistent game so far, and he's got Peyton Manning. I will say next year though, I think Alex wins the division because.
Whoa, look at that.
Well, you look at it because the Texans guy, he's losing a lot. He might lose. He's probably definitely going to lose Terrell Owens. He's
and TJ Usmanzada as well.
He's going to lose TJ. So he doesn't have Kobe Jones anymore. He does have Des Bryant.
He's both on defense, 35.
Yeah. He does have Des Bryant. He does have Andre Johnson. But there goes
Andre Johnson seemed to be the main part of his offense against me.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know about against other people. I don't know if he handles it against other people differently.
Well, think about this, Alex. If he doesn't have his slot guys there, if he doesn't have Terrell Owens and TJ, then you can pay more attention to Andre and Des Bryant. I mean, that's still a tough tandem, but he's also got Javid Best, who's only a B potential. I don't know why in this game. Sorry, Donnie Moore messed that one up for you, but.
Probably to do with the concussions, but
the problem is he's only a B potential. So does he go down? Does he really go up that much? So he's still kind of the same player at best, I think. No point intended.
Yeah, with no Foster, you question the run game somewhat.
Because what I'm saying is he might stay the same with Best, but he's probably not going to get that much better being only a B potential. So I think he goes down. Peyton Manning gets older, and you got Blaine Gabbert, who you don't know where he's going. He's an A potential. He could shoot up. Who knows? He could easily be, the second best quarterback in that division. And you still got Maurice Jones-Drew. I mean, you're looking really good. You got Holmes. I mean, you got some good pieces.
Yeah, I think Mike Thomas progresses nicely. He's been a big part of my offense this year as well.
It all depends on Blaine Gabbert, I think.
Holmes has drawn the coverage, and I've thrown it to him, so I've thrown it to Mike Thomas, so.
Yeah. I don't know. So, I had the Colts win division like stocks, but I think Alex is not far behind in the future. I think he wins the division next year. That being said, Des Bryant and Andre Johnson still a tough tandem.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a tough tandem, and the thing is you're gonna have like I said, the Texans not be able to spread the ball around as much as you want, and probably make them more predictable with just Javid Best in the backfield.
But is that a good thing that he doesn't have Terrell Owens and TJ? Because we've been talking about how he might have too many cooks in the kitchen, how there's too many weapons. I mean,
well, I think it could be, but the fact he hasn't got very much wide receiver depth at the moment. That means leaving it to the draft and free agency to make sure he gets at least one, maybe two people. So who knows what he'll end up with that? Because I'm sure there's going to be very high demand for players in skill positions such as that.
Well, I just find it funny how not saying this is wrong, but he really traded all these young guys for old guys. He traded Cushing. He traded D'Amico Ryans. He traded,
J.J. Watts.
Brian Cushing.
J. Watts. He traded all these guys.
Did he trade DeMarco Ryans in the end, or?
Yeah, DeMarco Ryans is the chief.
Because I suppose the one team we haven't mentioned so far very much, or if at all, is the Titans. Now at the moment, I think they're poised to be top of the division after a few big wins and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, he's pretty much a team that he didn't do much in the free agency. Didn't make any big splashes in the trade market. He's riding along with Jake Locker.
Yep.
So he's got Chris Johnson. So he's got a good solid team. Is it enough?
What I find interesting is Jake Locker's got all the stats. So does he progress into being, the quarterback that you need to win that division? Because it's funny because you got Peyton Manning, who's old. You got Schaub, who's not getting any younger. But then you got, Alex with Blaine Gabbert, and you got Jake Locker. They're kind of the future quarterbacks of the division. Do you think Jake Locker takes a step forward? Because I see Blaine Gabbert being the real deal. Locker has all the stats, but I don't know if he can be a franchise quarterback.
As well, yeah, in my opinion, Gabbert's been producing at the moment. Just looking at the game stats, yes, he's throwing picks, but that's probably down to my bad decision making with the throws or great quarterback play rather than his stats not being up to scratch.
That happens with rookies too.
To cut you guys off, the game against the Bengals this week, Jake Locker actually looked impressive. He only threw 19 times, 8 completions, but 4 of them were TDs, and he beat a good Bengals team.
Yeah.
30-20. The aspect of that game, Chris Johnson over 100 yards. So that was a pivotal game, maybe for the Titans right there, maybe to get something started there.
The Tennessee Titans has the most talent, I think, in the division next year with all his progressions. He's got Darius, J.J. Watt, Brandon Graham. That's his defensive line. I mean, that's the defensive line, just all that together. Then he's got, he doesn't have Finnegan anymore, so we'll see what he does with the young corners he's got left. But that D-line is scary. And then Jake Locker's only going to get better. Chris Johnson's going to probably stay the same at elite, running back. In Cook, his favorite receivers, he's still young. So.
Yeah, the only thing I would question is the wide receiver core with them, with Washington and Edelman.
But he's got
being his only targets.
He's got
on the outside.
Having traded away Kenny Britt.
Yeah, that's
stuff like that.
That's questionable.
Well,
so I quite like the team. If I was going to take the Titans, I'd quite like the team that he had before making some of those bigger moves. Yes, he's improved on the defensive line, but it wasn't that bad. And there was people in free agency and a couple of people in, even looking to the draft to improve that. But
he's not. I know you got CK2 and everything. I know he's awesome and everything, but if you're not spreading the ball around, you kind of just can double up on Cook.
Yeah, I mean, Cook has some good numbers, but it goes back to it. I think he's got 2 first-round draft picks, so I think that's probably where he looks to go wide receiver. But who knows? That division's still going to be wide up in the future. I think it comes down to you, Alex, and I think it comes down to the Tennessee Titans in the future. Right now, though, I think it comes down between the Texans and the Colts. But
we'll see, though. It's still very open.
Very open.
Basically, I've still got 2 games, as I've said, against the Colts, 1 against the Titans and 1 against the Texans. I've already beaten the Texans once, so if I can win those 4 games, I can win the division, I reckon.
That's that, and we'll be right back after this, and we'll break down some more playoff races. I know I want to get to Stock's big division, and if he thinks he left the door open, or if he still thinks he can slam it shut on some owners, I'll be coming up right after this. Hey, geeks and trolls, we're back, and it's Stocks, and it's I almost said Manny, but Manny's not joining us yet. Although we do have a special interview with him coming up after the breakdown, so stick around for that. But it's Stocks and it's Alex, our AFC master, as we would like to call him, because we don't play in the AFC, so we have no business really talking about it in depth like Alex can, because he's got first-hand experience. But,
and he's a draft guru.
Yeah, he's a draft guru too. So that's that. But let's go back to the original here. Let's go back to Stocks. I want to know, do you think do you think with your 2 losses, are you kind of scared? Are you a little bit questioning yourself? Or maybe you think you left the door open for some owners? Or do you think, if I beat the Panthers, it's over anyways, I win the division? maybe I cost myself the home court, which can be important. But do you think the division's up for
Well, in my aspect, I lost two pretty tough games.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from them.
Yeah.
I got a big matchup coming. Still up with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely shift gears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've beaten the Bears, so that's another good aspect. That I could still get another home field. Not throughout, but if I can beat the Giants, then I would, because I could beat the Giants and the Bears. Yeah, I feel like I've left the door open a little bit. Of course, a couple shaky games, and the Panthers are a team that I've been scouting as the up and coming, and
yep,
he's not going to let down. So yeah,
I think losing a couple games helps though.
Oh yeah, without a doubt it does. You definitely learn what your mistakes were, and I'd rather lose now than in the playoffs. So
yep, I think losing wasn't initially. It seems like Stocks is rolling, he was steamrolling, and now maybe the train's off the tracks. But I don't see it that way. I think losing for you was a good thing.
Yeah, no, and I'm experimenting a little bit with Cushion, the defense, and I think maybe that's hindered a few things by not use of him. But no, I got another crucial game against Atlanta and the showdown with the Giants. And that should be telling right there.
Now, Alex, do you think getting Brian Cushing was a good move for Stocks?
Yes, I think it was. It was a good deal from his point of view. It was a good deal from the Texans' point of view. They both got what they wanted out of the trade, by the look of it. Gives him versatility to play the 3-4 or the 4-3. In my opinion, he's got some good defensive ends. He's got a good linebacking core now. With I can't think of any linebacking core I'd rather not go against up the middle, other than maybe the 49ers with Patrick Willis, but they haven't really got anyone else to back him up. So maybe got the best linebacking pair in the middle. So I think it's a good move.
I think the Eagles could maybe rival the best linebacking core or the Steelers, but Stocks is definitely right up there.
No, but for the 3-4, I think.
Oh yeah.
He's definitely, I think, got the best middle to the 3-4 out of any of the teams. The outside, I think, is fairly young, so he's got a bit of time to improve with them. So it's a very good, promising linebacking core. I think it was a good move, yeah. As it gives him, even if there is an injury, he can go back to the 4-3, and then he's got a bit of flexibility. He's just generally increased with his flexibility and stuff with the quality players. So.
And we predicted your division, and we kind of said you're biased, so you can't really help us. So Alex, you got to help me now, and you got to say, is the door shut for all the other owners, or do you think somebody can sneak into, steal the spotlight, if you will, on Stock Show?
Well, the door's never closed.
Closed.
I think it's going to be tough for the Falcons and Bucks to have a chance, but the Panthers, yes, and they're in a very strong spot to potentially get a wild card spot.
Yeah, I think
the Eagles looking like they're going to get one of them at the moment, and then at the moment the other one's between the Vikings and the Panthers, with the Packers, with Manning's Packers, seem to be closing the gap. So I think that's going to come down to a couple of divisional matchups in the NFC North.
I think the Panthers, he could win the wild card, no question. But as far as winning the division, he don't got a chance.
Well,
I wouldn't say he doesn't have a chance.
He's 2 games behind.
He's 2 games out. We're halfway through.
One of them's against U-Stocks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, last week.
So
that could be crucial.
That's another loss for you potentially, and another win for him, putting 1 game closer. Then there's another game.
I like the Panthers. I mean, he's probably gonna give me some heat now and give me the red faces on the chat board and all that kind of stuff. But I think he wins the wild card. I think he's a playoff team. I'm not saying he's not a playoff team, but I think the division, it's been Stock's year. I think Stocks gets back on track. He doesn't miss a beat. And you know what, Stocks? If you win that game between the Panthers and you, he's done. I give him the wild card. I'm giving him the wild card. I'm just being honest. He doesn't win the division.
Well, I think it's probably a bit early to say he definitely doesn't win the division.
Hey, I didn't say definitely. I said he doesn't win.
You know what I mean? It's a bit early to be saying. I think it's unfair. It's slightly unlikely for him to win the division. But who would have the tiebreak between you two?
It would come down week 17 then, because we both play.
Did you beat him the first time, or
I beat him on a sim, unfortunate.
Yeah, that was.
And then he beat you the second time. So
it would come down to the record.
It would go down to the record. But if you had the same record, what would it go down to after that?
The conference. Who has the better conference?
I think it is conference. If not head-to-head, but I think it is conference. Now, let me say this. Before I get all the hate mail and all that kind of stuff.
Death threats, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Guns to your head.
Right? The Panthers are going to come out of the jungle and attack me or some crazy, thing like that. Could happen. But, hey, man, I think this. I think the Panthers owner and Stocks are very close players. But I think those 2 sim losses on the hands of Manny are the difference.
I think for the future, the Panthers are in a very good situation. I think they need to draft another wide receiver to replace Steve Smith. Steve Smith is no young. He's old. Let's put it that way. And they're going to need a franchise wide receiver that can be Cam Newton's number 1 target that they can build their franchise upon, like between him and Cam Newton, pretty much.
Hey, you're a real life Packer fan, Stocks.
Yep.
Who won the Super Bowl out of the wild card position last year?
The Packers.
Thank you. So saying a guy can make the wild card isn't a bad thing. It's not a knock on him. I think those 2 sim losses, especially the one to you, kills his chances in the division. Because at best, he beat you 1-1. But still, I think you pick up more wins after that than he can. It's the facts. I mean, one of those Sims losses was against the Falcons. He definitely probably would have won that game 100%. Because I don't think there was an owner on that team at the time. Those losses hurt, man. I'm not saying it's his fault at all. I think he's a great player. I think you're 9, he's 10. Or you're 10, he's 9. It's interchangeable, but I think those 2 sim losses cost him the division. Still wins the wild card, could still get to the Super Bowl, could still have a Packer-like run. So ease off the brakes before you run it into my body.
Ease off the brakes? You trying to go faster?
I'm just asking to swerve the wheel a little bit, not aiming at me. I don't care if it goes fast.
The thing is with the Panthers is, I believe the 2 sim losses really go against them in the long-term factor. The rest of his schedule looks up and down. He plays the Titans, he's got the Lions, he's got the Colts, he's got the Bucks, Falcons, Texans, Bucks, and then me. So he's got an up and down road. So
he's got a chance, but I was making a bold prediction, and I'm still sticking by that. I mean, those 2 sim losses, they're going to kill him, Stocks.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. I feel
no,
horrible.
It's not. I do too. Because without those 2 sim losses, he could be in the lead right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no owner's completely out of it at this stage, other than maybe the Ravens and the Redskins.
The Lions?
The Lions are maybe as well, but they're not.
I'm out of it, Alex. Don't sugarcoat it for me now because we're in show business. I'm out of it, man.
I'm just saying you're in slightly closer contention the first spot than the Ravens and the Redskins are, so you have a bit more of a chance than them. I'm just saying they're the teams that are completely out of it. No chance, in my opinion, of making the playoffs unless a miracle happens, because getting 6, 7 wins in the Ravens' case, it's not in the amount of games left, more than the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Browns pretty much is, well...
But if the Bears lose every single game, and I win every single game, I still don't think I have a chance.
I suppose, we'll see. It's going to take it week by week, I suppose. The Chargers are another team that maybe, with the Broncos and Raiders looking pretty high, pretty high, well, not high, but, slightly above the rest. The Chiefs and Chargers, the Chiefs maybe could do it and get a wild card spot, but I suppose they're in the same situation that anyone in AFC South is, or say the Browns, Bengals, etc.
How disappointing for the Chiefs, man. When I played the guy, he was good, and he still is good. I mean, you know him. He was the Vikings in our league last year. Starks. He's a good player.
Oh yes, he is.
It killed him that Dwayne Bowe got injured. It killed him.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
Because you don't have wide receiver depth. I mean, you have your slot and Steve Preston, and then you have a rookie on the outside. But when you ask that rookie to be your primary guy, just horrible, man.
Another thing with the Bengals is, well, they've got their main two offensive weapons out in their receiving game. They've got AJ Green out for 8 weeks with a herniated disc, and Jermaine Gresham out for the season. Yeah. So that's it probably caught up to him this week, and that's why he ended up losing. Well, I think AJ Green was out in the game this week, so that's kind of what I think that might be what do it, which could potentially stifle his playoff chances.
Yeah, I mean, who other wide receivers does he really have? That's a weak spot already. When you take a first round, wide receiver, so that already tells you that's a weak spot. Who else they got? They got Shipley. I mean, they already lost Gresham, so that's already a receiving option that's already gone. He doesn't have a lot of options there.
Yeah.
So I think that could potentially impact it could impact my playoffs run as well, because he's got to play. I think I've still got to play a couple of my divisional opponents, and he's already played me, which is one of the games that I wasn't able to play in, and I lost that. So that could potentially kick me in the arse when it comes to me getting into the playoffs, maybe. But we'll see. Hopefully it won't.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be a very interesting playoffs race when it comes to it. It's interesting now, and it's kind of just getting started. Because there's so many teams still in contention.
Yeah. Well, I'll pose a question that I think will be hard for both of you guys to answer, and maybe be different a little bit. I'll answer it too. Who do you think wins the wild card out of these two teams if you had to choose? Is it the Eagles, or do you think Runner and his Cowboys still has a chance?
On first team-wise, I would have to give it to the Eagles. Second, the Cowboys, maybe just his gameplay is enough to get in, and the Eagles just somehow, fall in the trap or whatever. I'm not sure.
The Eagles did beat the Cowboys pretty handily in their one-on-one battle. But both of the guys, if you don't take that game in account, well, I mean, you're gonna have to take it in account, but try to separate it for a moment. Both of those guys have had impressive wins over some really good teams. I think the Eagles probably gets it, but the Cowboys are not out of it. Every time we count the Cowboys out, he ends up getting a big win. Everyone's like, wow.
I think that, 2 games off the pace, he's traded Des Bryant. He got Kenny Britt in the trade, and he's traded him straight on for picks. He's 2 games off the pace. I'm not sure if I think that he's going to be able to do it. I think he kind of maybe anticipates whether he's going to be, that he might not be able to do it, and that's why he did the Kenny Britt trade for picks. He's got Miles Austin, and he's got Ogletree, I think, as primary receivers.
Yeah.
Got Jason Witten. So he's got some alright receivers, so I think the Kenny Britt one was kind of... He thought Des Bryant was expendable, got as much for him as possible, and then did the same for Kenny Britt, so...
Yeah,
he's primarily a runner, and he'll run it, but I don't know. We'll see.
He's got the best running back tandem, I think, next year. He's got Murray, he's got Choice, and Felix Jones. But I think you hit the nail on the head and kind of sealed his coffin already. He kind of did it to himself. He had a chance. But he traded all these picks away, or these players away for picks. Now, let's break that down a little bit more, since we all kind of agree the Eagles have the lead there in the wild card. We think he's going to go on. He's a good player. He's going to probably make some noise in the playoffs. But let's digress a little bit back to the Cowboys. He made the trade with the Steelers, and he got a first-round draft pick, if I'm correct, and he got Ziggy Hood. Now, he always thought his biggest need was defensive end. Defensive tackle. He wanted to work on the defensive line. Do you think he kind of killed two birds with one stone, getting another first-round draft pick and a young defensive bookend?
I think I like Ziggy Hood. I love the name, and I think that it's a good pick. Good pickup for him, because he's fairly young. He can grow into that position. It means potentially one less need when he comes to the draft, which means he can look at other areas or best available. I personally think that maybe it's slightly one-sided, but I'm not sure. It depends which way you look at it. It depends on where the picks were, and it depends on how the players from the trade progress, in my opinion.
Well, right now it looks like the Steelers are an arena football team putting up crazy numbers. And doesn't look like the pick's going to be that high, but it's still a first-round draft pick, and a first-round draft pick's nothing to slight at. What do you think of the trade? We got about 2 minutes left, Docs.
Yeah, looking it over real quick, it seems like the Cowboys are killing two stones, one shot with, giving away some pieces but building for next year. I think he's stretching the offense a little bit too much and losing a little too much firepower in the wide receiver core. I like the running backs. The running backs are great. I know you still have Witten and Miles, but that second wide receiver is somewhat crucial. And.
But do you think he was like, well, I'm not going to win the wild card this year? Do I get?
No, I don't think he was doing that. I think he was trying to do both. I think he still knows he's got a chance now, but he's looking and trying to save himself for next year also. So I think he did a good job. I just think this year is going to take a little bit more than a hit than for next year.
Because he could be like, well, I can get the receiver back in the draft, and I already got the defensive player that I wanted. Because it was known he was going defensive tackle, defensive end with his draft pick. Now he can go and fill that with the wide receiver is much more deeper in the draft. He can fill that, and he's still got the defensive end that he needs.
Yeah, so I think this year he gave away a little bit too much to succeed this year for next year.
Yep, just like the Manny trade that we talked about earlier. I think for this year, gave up too much. But who knows what that pick will come out to be. I mean, who knows what the Eagles his record will end up being, and how valuable that first-round draft pick will be. And we talked about it in the mock draft. Maybe Manny packages the two first-rounders to move up, and get a top 10 first. We never know. So first-rounders are nothing to slight at. But I do agree that he gave up a little bit too much for this year. That's it for me. Now, we can go on to another segment, but you guys want to wrap something up with your final thoughts? You said it all right there. Let's just wrap it up. Get it done.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.